As you can see, once again, the call for the release of the director of Radio Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has grown louder. Members of the indigenous people of Biafra have been protesting on the streets of Asaba, the Delta State capital, calling for the release of their acclaimed leader. Hundreds of protesters trooped out to the Asaba-Bini Expressway today, blocking one side of the road and causing traffic. The resultant gridlock forced transporters to divert to the Asaba main town, disrupting traffic flow in the metropolis. Police patrol teams eventually had to take over traffic control to ensure smooth vehicular movement. Let's see what's happening in the world of business. Here's Adeshewa Josh.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Ijama. Welcome to Business News. I am Adeshewa Josh. Political business and business leaders across the world are gathering in Davos, Switzerland this week for the World Economic Forum. And the theme of this year's summit is Mastering the Fourth Industrial Revolution. President Muhammadu Buhari will join over 40 heads of state for the 46th edition of the World Economic Forum, which begins this week in Davos. The forum, which will hold from the 20th to the 23rd of this month, will focus on critical challenges such as security, climate change, and commodity prices. Channels Television Business News business crew will be there to bring us the latest from the events. Indeed, I'm being joined by Channels TV Business News editor Bosin Omofaye. He joins me now with the latest from Davos. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10. Let me just ask you, thank you. The summit officially kicks off tomorrow. We understand it will focus on mastering what analysts call the fourth industrial revolution. Give us highlights of what to expect.
Well, of course, the formal meetings will be Wednesday, the 20th, till Friday. A bit of that was spill into Saturday. But of course, tomorrow you have many of the delegates making registrations. There will be a get-together of the media community globally that's covering the event. Channels Television will be at that meet and greet tomorrow. But basically, the fourth industrial revolution is focusing on the world has moved from the first, the second, and the third industrial revolution. If you remember, the 17th to the 19th century, in Europe and Western world, with the revolution regarding the railways, the advent of television and electricity. Now, the world has since moved on to innovation and technology using digital media, using the internet and what you call infrastructure to move the world to the next level. So this conference is to focus on the fourth revolution. But the key question is, will Africa be part of this industrial revolution? How much of it would help the continent leapfrog its own challenges, having struggled over the decades with issues with electricity, power to be basic, infrastructure, healthcare, water, the basic indices of the Human Development Index. These are the key issues that will be discussed here over the next couple of days.
That's right, Bosin. That's right, Bosin. A lot of African leaders are expected to attend this meeting. Now, how is Africa expected to benefit from these talks?
Well, tomorrow morning we try to get an executive member of the World Economic Forum, Elsie Kanza, who is the head of WEF for Africa, to talk to Harriet in the morning, 10:30 Central European Time, 10:30 a.m. Nigerian morning, to give us what will be the specific focus for African leaders coming here, Nigerian here. You expect a number of other African leaders, policymakers, business leaders also are to attend the meeting to take a look at jobs, for example, employment, healthcare, infrastructure, natural resources at a time when these have tanked historic lows, when you can no longer depend on commodities, gold, crude oil, what have you, as a basis of moving forward. Then we have to deal with the issue of the new media, the new industrial revolution. So quite a lot of listening here for African leaders, but also a lot of them putting on the table what they think are their own ideas that will help the continent move forward with the rest of the world, having largely missed the first, the second, and the third industrial revolution.
And before I let you go, as you rightly pointed out, we are experiencing globally falling commodities prices. We're also experiencing the fall of the stock market. As you can see that even in Nigeria here, we're falling below the 23,000 psychological line. It's happening across board. What kind of conversations are you expecting from world leaders targeted at resolving some of these issues?
Well, it's been said over and over again, Africa will have to trade with itself, to do more with cross-border investment. You need to do more with cross-border trade. You need to provide infrastructure, build railways and pipelines from Lagos to Cairo, for example. You need to open up the East African corridor. You need to provide infrastructure across the West African region. Africa needs to get its power projects across borders up and running. The world will not develop Africa. And this has been said over and over again. This is a time for Africa to put his mouth where his money where his mouth is. So this is just something that has to be done from the within. The world is ready to help and do a lot of business with Africa, but we need to raise the game when it comes to good governance. And this will be part of the conversation here. Without good governance, respect to contracts, and do of insecurity, if these issues are not addressed, it will be difficult for the world to bring the much needed billions of dollars to support railways, whether to cover healthcare, or you want to do massive housing for the people at the bottom of the pyramid. So quite a lot to chew over here, and I think this is the right environment for thousands of world leaders to do that discussion and come up with some solutions that can work for the continent.
So much, Bo Singh, for speaking to us. Channels TV Business News Editor Bo Singh Mofaye there for us live from Davos. Also, Channels Television will be bringing you live updates, so stay tuned as our crew bring us the latest from Davos, Switzerland. Now, lack of political will has greatly hampered proper financing of infrastructure in Nigeria. This is the view of an economic analyst, Mr. Gabriel Idahosa. Mr. Idahosa was on Channel's Business Morning today, and he believes that projects need to be bankable so they can receive the necessary support from banks. Well, still a slippery market at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The all-share index plunges below the 23,000 psychological line. BC Adebayo joins us now with the day's closing figures. Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Reports. Intense sell pressure sent the Nigerian equities market tumbling by over 4%, pushing key indicators to a 3.5-year low. The all-share index, which has fallen for 9 straight days, dropped below the 23,000 psychological point at 22,550.83. Nestle was the day's heaviest loser with 5%. The equity closed at 703 naira. Guinness lost almost 10% at 102 naira 89 kobo, while Dangote Cement shed 7.07% to 123 naira 60 kobo. On the other hand, Guaranty Trust Bank led today's top price gainers, which also include Continental Insurance and Tiger Brands. Bank stocks topped the volume chart as shown in the shares of UBA, Guaranty Trust Bank and Zenith Bank. At the sound of the closing gong, total volume of shares stood at 196.25 billion units, valued at 1.67 billion naira, exchanged in 3,248 deals. That ends the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo. Thanks a lot, Bessie. Let's also check out closing figures from some major markets around the world. And that's Business News Tonight. The news at 10 continues in a moment.
You first. First Bank.
The recent decision by the Central Bank of Nigeria to discontinue its sale of foreign exchange to Bureau de Change operators has been given the thumbs up by the Civil Liberties Organization. At a press briefing in Lagos today, the human rights body sees the decision as one that's long overdue at the rate of inflation has become worrisome.
Would henceforth discontinue its sales of foreign exchange to the BDC operators. Operators in this segment of the market would henceforth need to source their foreign exchange from autonomous sources.
This comment by the central bank governor over the activities of Bureau de Change operators in the country set off ripples in the financial sector, with many BDC operators calling the decision unfair. But the Civil Liberties Organization, at this press conference in Lagos, Southwest Nigeria, is pitching its tent firmly on the side of the Apex Bank.
The CLO has observed with increasing alarm the current raging battles within the foreign exchange market, especially as it concerns the Bureau de Change operators, BDCs, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Its implications for the nation, its history and strong roles in the negative disposition of the Naira, and the preponderance of cabals that have taken deep stranglehold on the operations of the foreign exchange market.
The human rights body also wonders why it took so long to come up with the decision, calling on President Buhari to ensure no stone is left unturned in the cleaning up of the financial sector.
An economy that encourages a BDC operator to obtain publicly earned funds at 190 naira to the US dollar and then turns around to sell it at 270, and as we speak today, it's even above 300 naira to the dollar. It's an economy that is determined to remain backward. We urge the president, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, whose election may have offered renewed hope to the nation, not to fritter away this opportunity to make a difference in the lives of Nigeria and Nigerians. This policy, we strongly believe, is clearly well thought out and focused on extricating the nation from the stranglehold of a cabal that are bent on keeping the nation marooned in the cesspit of underdevelopment, impervious to the sensitivities of the nation and the suffering which their profiteering is capable of unleashing on the masses.
The die is cast, and from what the central bank is saying, it's either you comply or close shop.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's Super Eagles begin African 2016 Nations Championship campaign with an emphatic victory over Niger Republic. And that's on sports. Stay with us.